Welcome back to Salesforce Sisters. This video is about user story creation for Salesforce case management. Let's dig right into it. If you are writing the user stories after completing the business requirement documents as mentioned in the last videos, then this is straightforward going to user stories. So you need you capture the requirement about what's the record type or the case name is going to be. If it's assuming it's global merchant support here, so the user stories could be as a system user, I should be able to create new case in Salesforce with record type global merchant support whenever an email is received on this email ID so that the GMS team can receive the case request. So this is a very straightforward story that tells what's the user persona, what should they be able to do, who's the user, what should they be able to do, and why they should be able to do that. I'm not going into the definition of the user stories, but straightforward, what are the user stories that you need to capture? Of course, there's no right or wrong way to do that. There might be more that you can think of as an expert BA, but as a beginner BA, these are the important information points that you need to capture in the user stories. As a system user, I should be able to update the case owner for all the new cases created for the record type global merchant support in Salesforce so that the queue owner can receive the cases successfully. Once the case gets created, it needs to go to the queue. So this user story is about the queue for that case. Once the record type is created, we need to add the fields onto that case. So we need to have a user story. It can be one user story or it can be separate for each field, depends on the style of your team and the comfort of the developer. How do they want to go with it? So you need to have a user story that what are the fields on the case. So as a system user, I should be able to create the following fields with the following details on the case object and add them on the record type and page layout called global merchant support. So GMS team can access the case details and complete the review. Again, we have told who's the user, what is it that they're trying to do, and why they are trying to do that. So the development team might ask you a lot of questions, or the QA team might ask you a lot of questions to clarify what's the correct interpretation of these information points that you have added into the user stories. So once you are into those discussions, you might need to think from your business requirement document perspective, what it the business stakeholders mean by this field. So when we say case owner, is it the queue or do we want a default case owner as the manager of that queue? So, there are a lot of interpretations that can happen. So you need to stick to the one that you had from the business requirement document. And you can add the details of the fields that we captured in the last video as a table, or it can be just one user story. So for example, after writing this template user story, you can add the table saying the field label is case owner, field type is a lookup to a contact object. So which object it's a lookup to, and then do we want it on the page layout? Do we have any default value to this, or what kind of field access do we want? So field access is very important information. So make sure you understand who needs to just view the field, who needs to edit the field, and who does not need to have any access to that field. So those information points need to be captured carefully. Or there can be a user story about each field, but that's not a very standard process to do that. So this is another one. From screen, you can actually refer to some of these basic fields. I'm not going to go to each field in detail there.